Alrighty, so Karen has always been pretty strong since Punk popularized the character and Punk really started winning everything. Now, fundamental strengths, walk speed, really good. Both forward and especially her backdash is really good, so she can control space really well. Now she has really good limbs that for converting into damage. Like, she doesn't have the longest range limbs of most of the characters, but this is where her strengths lie because she has all of the various tools that you would want your limbs to be able to do, except her anti-air is slightly weak. If I were to go and record like something like that, like a quick dive kick from Cammy, her anti-air is a little on the slow side, and not only that, it doesn't hit above her head because it moves forward. She lunges forward and then hits upwards, so characters right above you will generally get underneath or over you. And most prominently, it is a heavy, so it does some more damage than other jump in or anti-air buttons, but it doesn't leave you particularly close to the opponent. You're not in throw range afterwards, so the offense is not the greatest afterwards. But it does allow you to get, like, you can cancel it into her command dash, which will leave you closer, and it's still better because you can still apply pressure afterwards. But every one is you'll constantly get missed inputs if you do this, because sometimes, yeah, that was not supposed to come out like that. That was supposed to be a command dash, but sometimes you're on the opposite side of the opponent, so you have to input the direction the opposite way. So even the best players in the world will accidentally get that missed input if they go for this, which they don't usually do that much. And it means that if she wants to get stay close to the opponent and do offense after anti-airing, she has to side switch. So it is really handy that she has an anti-air into a side switch, but it's not handy that you have to commit to the side switch to apply pressure afterwards. Now her other anti-airs are, she has an air-to-air medium punch, which knocks him down and leaves her much closer. She can go into a heavy punch target combo, which leaves her, like, pretty close. And then she has EX Rasenha, which is this quarter circle back move. So that's her invincible wake up, so it's also a decent anti-air. But if you do it as an anti-air, it doesn't hit, like, its hitbox, it's kind of weird, and it's not going to get the full damage a lot of the time. But it is really handy to have a fully invincible anti-air. That is an easier and faster input to do than a DP motion. So those are her anti-airs, which would be like one of her only weak points. She's good against, she's good at counter zoning. See, the great thing about her buttons, so you can test this by having the opponent block and then recording them to do reversal actions for their various normals. So let's do some good normals like this. So let's do like low medium kick on one, long range poke with that on the other one, and that one's just blocking. So let's see if we can't. Okay, first of all, so now when she blocks, she's going to do heavy punch. So now let's have her either do that or block. And then we're going to try to react to it. With a combo. So, decent range tools. And then you can practice reacting to that animation, and like that's the like whiff punishing in this game is either like, oh, the opponent did a really big whiff that is easy to see, like so it's like, oh, the opponent whiffed a big button, which is pretty easy to see, and then you can just you react to it even if it's a surprise, and then you punish it. Or whiff punishing is generally you want to put yourself in a single situation. See, the thing about human reaction speed, which is very important if you play this character. Playing this character, you want to have reaction speed for whiff punishing. You want to have reaction speed to see the movements of the opponent and put yourself in the right place. If they move forward or back suddenly, you want to position yourself where your limbs will be stronger. And you want to have reaction speed for hit confirming your attacks and making sure your hits land. So there's a couple ways you can do it. But yeah, thing about reaction speed, you want to, there's a couple of tricks to it. One, if you're looking to hit the opponent, if I have it on random like this, there, I only cancel the attack on hit, not on block. Now, I am not the best at this, and I don't play this character, so see, I missed it there. Got it there. Missed it. Missed it. I guess I'm better at that than I thought. Alright. But anyways, yeah. So that is a pretty fast reaction. That is something you really got to practice and train for. And so being able to react to this hitting and then canceling it into a single attack, which is like, so you can do the same with that move. So this move, standing medium punch, crouching medium kick, and standing heavy punch are all the moves that are good to practice hit confirming. Missed it. Missed it. Got it. So the trick is, so the input that I'm usually doing is this move, which is out of her command dash. So quarter circle forward kick is the most common special with Karen because it leads to this and the shoulder if you hit down and punch while you're doing it, which it can be an awkward input to learn at first, but then once you get used to it, it's really autopilot. It's not like a huge execution barrier for the character. So yeah, the first awkward thing to learn is like just doing like this basic combo. Oh fuck. Yeah, that basic combo. So you can see the difference in animation between when I do it like that and when I do it like that. There's a noticeable, see that? She steps forwards, whereas that one is an instant like snap up. Now when you're canceling from a move, you just want to wait until, so the way it works is if you hit the punch thing as soon as your input comes out, so you basically want to like, it's called like plinking or whatever you would use the term, but you hit one input like just a millisecond after the other. You're basically just like hitting them almost at the same time with your fingers, but just one is slightly after the other. So you do the kick and then the punch is like maybe a couple of milliseconds slower. And that's how you get that. And the way you do it off of cancels is instead of doing like the special input like right away like that, I'm inputting the special, I input the normal, see my inputs on the left side, input the normal, and then wait and do the special all at the same time. With the punch input as well for the plink, for the gist frame Tenko that launches them up. And then similar there, I just do the gist frame command dash into the down punch for the shoulder. Now if you want an easier combo, you can just do the Tenko again, does slightly less damage. Or you can do V-skill. Now, anyways, back to reaction speed and whiff punishing. It's all very important for this character. You want to stand at the right ranges, and basically one of the core things of like whiff punishing stuff is you're going to be constantly like baiting the opponent to do something, right? So it's good to know which of your moves push you back to your ideal range. So it's like, if you do like this, if you're really close and you hit standing medium punch, you can trick the opponent to thinking that you're closer than you are, because this has a lot of pushback. You see how far it pushes them back on block? Much closer than something like this, which leaves you pretty close. This, even if you're here, and also the fact that she leans into it, it looks like she's right next to them, but then she pulls back after the move is done, and there's a significant gap. So you can go like this, and then they might think you're closer than you are. So that's one of the tricks to getting them to whiff attacks. But it's still too close. Now, this is +1 on block, so since it is plus, you can still try to take your turn, like... But you also want to push back further. So push back with that. And then once you create the whiff, you just practice reacting to it, and you want to be outside the character's effective range. So it's good to like practice reacting to each animation with each character that you're going against. Like, did I do crouching medium kick for that one? So it's good to see how you can best whiff punish it. So this is a pretty long move from Cammy, so it's difficult to like step in and out of the range. They're there. I can do it like that. So let's have her do that and also block. And then we practice reacting to the move. Oops. Not quick enough. Not close enough. Oops. Not quick enough. Too close. There we go. I messed up the combo afterwards, but like that's how you would practice that. So you figure out like what ranges and what motions you have to do, so your hand can do all of that automatically. So it's like you set up your max range, your situation, and then you set up, yeah, your whiff punish that you're looking for. And then you just complete the motion that puts you in the range to whiff punish. So a slight walk forwards every time into crouch blocking. Messed up spacing. Wasn't close enough there, so didn't walk forwards enough. So yeah, some of them require more precision than others. Like this one, because of how long Cammy's low medium kick is, this requires very precise spacing and timing, because it also recovers pretty fast. Messed it up. Too close. Not fast enough. So this one's pretty difficult to get all of the elements to be precise. But the heavy punch that I was doing earlier, not that bad. Pretty easy. If you set up the situation, easy enough to react to it. Like so. And then you just want to train it with like more and more situations. So those are like the pokes that the opponent might do. Now, an even longer poke that Cammy has is that. So it's like, I can't even get out of the range of that. How am I going to possibly whiff punish this, right? Like, how can I step into range? So for these things that you can't like get, even if you know that they whiff, you can't really whiff punish them because you can't get into range to... Because if you're too close, you can't make them whiff, obviously. So you have to be outside the range and then move into your range. So for super long moves like this, not really viable to do that. At best, I could whiff punish with this. Standing medium kick like that, which is difficult to do and not super rewarding. So instead, we set up, this is not a reaction, but we set up specific counterpoke situations. So this is done through a method called buffering. So if I have the opponent, so I'm going to do the same input every time. I'm going to do medium punch into this dash. Okay, the whatever her dash is called. So there, if I input it fast enough, if I input like standing medium punch into my dash really fast, the dash doesn't come out because my medium punch hasn't finished. But if it hits something, it can cancel into it. So we use that property to make it so that if the opponent sticks out a button into it, we've already set up the right timing. And then we just have to react to it hitting, do the correct combo afterwards. Which is easy. So that's called buffering. It's slightly less awkward with other characters because with Karen, not only do you can't just buffer like one move, you have to buffer it into the dash and then react to that your buffer worked and then hit the Tenko at the right time, because if you hit the Tenko too early, it might not reach. Yeah, because you're way out there, so you have to also manually time it and see that you've dashed for enough. So yeah, it can be a little awkward, requires some practice. This is the thing that I practice the least with Karen, because I don't play her, so that's why I'm super bad at it. So yeah, Karen has good long-range whiff punish tools, like standing heavy punch and low medium kick, that are good for doing the whiff punishes on that and converting into damage. And then, yeah, long-range poke moves that will beat out some of these other things. And get lower damage but easier whiff punishes because it's so long with standing medium kick, which is also just a good poke in general to control space, and it's hard for the opponent to whiff punish. Unlike heavy punch, which is a bit slower and easier for the opponent to whiff punish if you misspace it, so it's better to use it when you know it'll reach and when you're whiff punishing stuff. But yeah, these moves are okay to whiff a lot in this space. Standing medium punch, crouching medium punch, they recover super fast, so they don't reach as far, but medium punch reaches further than it looks, and it's really good. Both of her medium punches buffer really well, so if I were to have her do so crouching medium punch especially is like a great thing to just buffer from back here with just buffer it into that. And yeah, depending on how much meter you want to spend, you can do a lot of damage or a little damage. So that's like the essence of playing the character. And you have another long-range poke in heavy kick, which is also really good. It's a little hard to like whiff punish because it's a heavy, so it's kind of slow, but it is a really long-range move that will, and it does have like a crush counter properties, so. So yeah, you're either setting up counter poke situations with buffers. So counter pokes can work one of two ways. You can either set up the whiff and then whiff punish it automatically like that, where I'm not reacting to this, I'm just inputting it, and the fact that she kicks into my punch is what makes the rest of it go. Or you have buffer situations like this. where instead of a whiff punish, I'm getting a counter hit. So her move hasn't fully come out yet. So normally, if she does nothing here, my move just whiffs. But that's fine because this move doesn't whiff for very long, so it's not the worst risk to take. But if she attacks with that, she moves into it. So this is a counter poke in which I am, like, poking into the range that her hurt box will extend into on the startup of her move rather than the recovery of her move. Now this is also beneficial because situations like this, some moves are worse on startup than on recovery. Like this move for Karen, it would be better for the opponent to use this sort of tactic to beat that move, because it extends her hurt box on the startup of the attack more so than the recovery. But so yeah, both of her medium punches are really good for doing this as well. Her crouching medium punch is kind of insane at doing this. So yeah, that's mainly the essence. Now the only other thing is like raw hit confirming. So even if the opponent's like not doing or just barely doing a button. Now there's two ways again to do this. There's contextual hit confirming, where for example, if I have the opponent reversal with like a light or something like this, or just stay blocking like this, you can react to their anime. It's easier to do it with slower moves, like if they were to respond with let's say, yeah, like a, I don't know, like a slightly longer range poke than that, like I don't know, let's just say crouching medium kick. So if I do this into that, and they're blocking also. So if I do this, and they just stay blocking, which we'll do randomly, it's slightly easier to see that you're about to get the hit because you can see a little bit of the fact that the opponent started an animation for an attack. But in general, like, sometimes it's easier to see than others. So basically, sometimes when you poke with these moves, you just see that you're going to hit them because they started up some slower move or something, or they're whiffing some move, and then it's easier to confirm. But yeah, in general, these moves are capable, like, able to be confirmed just under human reaction speed on a single hit. So I have them doing random. Oops. Now, the way I'm doing this, there's a couple of tricks that, because this is a difficult reaction for many people. And, like, this is a hard reaction for me to do consistently in training mode. It would be harder in a real match where there's... In a real match, you have contextual clues that help you with whiff punishing. But it also, like, there's the stress and the many things you have to be looking for during a match that will make it harder to whiff punish, and the increased stress of the situation. But anyways, the main trick to doing this, and it's mostly about mental control. You have to control your own reactions and the way your brain looks for reactions. But one of the best things to improve your hit confirming is, well, okay, a couple things. First, when you do a move that you're looking to single hit confirm, you do the input already. So I'm doing crouching medium kick into quarter circle forward already. So the only thing that I'll need to do if I see that it was hit is hit kick and punch for the dash into the Tenko. So all I'm doing when I react to it, so I'm doing all of the motions that'll be necessary every single time I do it, and when I react to the thing I need to react to, I'm just hitting two buttons, almost at the same time. Then the next trick is to look at their stun gauge. Now, there's a couple of contextual clues. For instance, if you do this low, if you see that they're standing up, it means that if they're still in a standing animation like that. So I looked for their head, or where their head was, and I saw that she was still standing, so then I committed. That's one thing you can look for if you're doing a low hit confirm. But it won't help you to hit confirm if you get the hit, but they were still crouching for some reason. Like, you just whiff punish the crouching move or something. So that's only for looking for specifically the low hit, and it's not always as consistent. But you can also look for, I would mainly look at the stun gauge, because the stun gauge is the thing that, see, when it's blocked, it doesn't move at all. But when it gets a hit, it gets instantaneously a very clear blip increase. So I would look at the stun gauge, and then when I see the stun gauge go up, that's when I hit the buttons. Now, the final trick to improving your single hit confirm reaction speed to do this consistently in terms of your like mental, the way you think about it, is don't think about what you're looking at. You don't want to be focusing on, like, if you're trying to react to something that you know is going to happen at some point, focusing on that thing, you don't want to think about what you're reacting to. You don't want to think about the situation that you're going to react to. You don't want to think about, like, oh, hyper focus on the stun gauge. Is it going to move or is it not? No, you don't. You want your brain to be thinking about your fingers. In your brain, you should be thinking about how your thumb is going to hit the kick button when the thing happens. So all you should be thinking about is your thumb coming down on that button. And then now another trick that you can do is you can move your thumb sort of up and down. So figure out a time to move your button, like hover it over the button that you're going to hit. And so you come down on it when you're so I just kind of like slowly lift and then lower it onto the button every single time I do this. And then if I see the reaction, I just lower it all the way down to pressing it. If I don't see the thing I'm trying to react to, if it's a block, I just lower it and then don't press it. I just let it fall back down. Now, the reason I do that is because it makes the timing of your reaction consistently at the same time. You're not, like, reacting slower or later. It's either you see it within the period that you need to see it in or you don't. So if your hand is always coming down on the button at the exact same timing, it's just whether or not your brain keeps up, and it will make your brain react to things faster. And yeah, so long as you keep that in your head, you practice the consistent timing for when your button has to happen, and you keep that press in your head rather than like looking at the stun gauge and trying to expect when it's going to come. That will like drastically improve like the rate at which you react to things in a split-second situation. Now, single hit confirming is hard. It's not like a beginner thing. It requires a lot of practice. It's something that the professional players do and will still sometimes make mistakes on, because some of these things are like require pretty fast reactions. And it's mainly like training your brain to be, because you will notice sometimes single hit reactions are really easy for you and sometimes they're like not working their way harder. It's just because like your brain is a little jumbled and you're not like, it's not doing the right steps to maximize your reaction speed to those things. But if you're in a clean, relaxed state of mind and your brain and your hands are all following the correct steps, it should work as you practice it. So yeah, reaction speed is mainly about maintaining your correct state of mind more than it is like anything else. Maintaining the state of mind where your brain is operating at its best. So anyways, just a couple basic combos. All of her lights, this is her fastest button, crouching jab. So her lights will go into this as well. When you do this, meterless combos, going into shoulder. Going into this is alright, then you can command dash and be in throw range, or just double dash. You can go into V-skill for a similar situation. You can do that for a similar situation. If you want to go into super in mid-screen, I would do this into super. You can cancel shoulder into super, but it does like the same damage and it's slightly harder. If you're in the corner with Karen, one of the weird things about Karen is that like her super is kind of hard to hit in the corner. That's the best way to go into it. If you do it, like, you can't land shoulders in the corner, because the way it works, you'll just go underneath them. But you also can't do that, because you'll also go underneath them. So I would do that, and then another Tenko. You let them fall a little bit, and then you do another Tenko, and then you do super. So long as they've fallen enough. And that's how you get into your super in the corner, off of these launchers. So off of either of your heavy punches or standing medium punch, or either of your medium punches as well, you can go into EX shoulder, the dash into EX shoulder, which is one of your highest damage like routes, and then from that you can just do that, which is like always your highest damage one bar combo. It's just doing that. So that was 359 damage as opposed to like that would be your regular 1-bar combo. That's 339. So off of like launcher hits, 1-bar combo is like that. There we go. Now if you screw it up and do the EX dash into EX Tenko too late, you can just do a tap of the V skill rather than holding it down, the charge version. Two-bar combos. There's a couple routes you can do. You can do that into EX into that. You can do EX shoulder into... this works sometimes. Kind of hard to do that, but that is a 2-bar route. You can also do... This, I've heard... I don't think I've ever done this, but... This is apparently possible, but very difficult combo to get in mid-screen. Much easier in the corner. So that's like a 2-bar combo that you can do there. You can also do a 3-bar combo. Now, sometimes there's not much point in doing a 3-bar combo because you could just do super. And super will generally be like your most damaging combos. That was 471. So I could do a 3-bar combo like that. So that was 453. But the difference is supers will not deal stun. They only deal damage. Whereas if you do a 3-bar combo, you can maximize your stun output. And sometimes it might be the only way to convert off of a situation. Like say if it's So I've recorded two things that are very similar. So that's a situation where I might do a 3-bar combo because I spent a bar to get the first hit. So then I did like 341 damage in total. Granted, you can also just, in the same situation, if you're like trying to look to react to a fireball, and then go through it with the EX Tenko. You can also just super through it a lot of the time. Super won't go as far as the EX Tenko, but the 3-bar combo actually does slightly more damage in that instance. And it does stun. And it has a better setup as well. Her super is not really great for, like, continuing offense. In the corner, that's, like, your default almost all the time. Your corner combo is going to look like, you do, like, your Tenko into your light Mujinkan legs thing. And then EX for Senha. If you want to do more stun, all in a single hit, you do the same thing, but delay your, and then do EX Mujinkan instead of Rasenha. And then, yeah, that is most of it. You have, like, you want to know, like, how to convert off of this as well. So you can do, like, V-skill if you get the crush counter off of this. Another situation where you might want to do a 3-bar combo. And then you have just like knowing your counter hits and your regular combos, like crouching medium punch combos into crouching medium kick or standing medium punch. Light kick combos into itself, and then on counter hit, crouching medium punch combos into heavy punch, which is like where your most optimal damage comes from. And then standing light kick is really good on counter hit if you're pressuring with this. A lot of times you'll like a quick frame trap to do, because light kick has great range and it's pretty fast, is to just do that into low medium kick, and it combos on counter hit. So it's good to practice reacting to that counter hit. Now, her sweep is also very good. It's very long ranged, and it's a good way to cancel into her V-trigger. Now, neither of her V-triggers are particularly good. One of the weaker V-trigger characters in the game, but so the way her V-trigger 1 works, which is one you're basically always going to use, is it gives her this move, which is pretty good in neutral. Oh, by the way, I should mention he has a bunch of other weird-ass moves. Like, okay, meterless damage. If you want to do meterless damage, the best combo to go for is this. And also has some of the best corner carry. So this is like heavy punch into heavy Rasenha into the slide follow-up, which you can find in the command list. She also has this, which is borderline useless. It's a total gimmick and does not have many practical applications. This is an overhead, and it's also airborne, so if you do this and they try to, like, if they think you're going to throw and they throw tech, this will beat that as well, so you can go into slide after that. Because it moves forwards, some Karens, it is punishable if they just do this, but some Karens will do this on occasion, just to do a fast overhead or just to do a throw bait that will also beat their backdash because it moves forwards. So this is not useless. It has applications, and you can cancel them to super like that. You can also single hit confirm this move into super. Like so, which has been a staple of a thing Karen players have done since the game first came out. Now, another like cool thing you can do before getting into V-trigger. So V-skill 1, the uncharged version is punishable at a lot of ranges, but it is like a decent just quick poke sometimes. The charged version is more useful and has more range and is safer. Beats more things. If it hits at the same time as a fireball comes out, she will go through the fireball. It's not like a great anti-projectile tool. This can beat projectiles at long range, so it is occasionally useful for getting it on zoning, but she's a character that deals pretty well against zoning. She does need to spend meter to go under fireballs with this and punish them on reaction, but she has like other anti-zoning tools and good anti-zoning buttons. Her best jump in is like a medium kick a lot of the time, and like so jumping medium kick, jumping heavy kick are pretty good. And yeah, if you just want to like push the opponent to the corner on block, you can cancel stuff, especially like heavy punch, into the heavy dash, and then cancel it really late into the shoulder, and even on block it will just move them across the screen. It does put you close to the opponent and it's their turn afterwards, but you know, if you're accepting that, and you have plenty of defensive tools to use in this situation, like you can backdash, you can V-shift, you can do your invincible reversal, you can hit your 3-frame fast attack. So yeah, in this V-trigger, she gets access to this move, which has a couple of follow-ups, so she can hit kick to backdash, which takes a lot of her V-gauge to do. She can do this punch follow-up, which is very punishable. She can do this shoulder by doing down and punch, which is plus on block, but only slightly. Well, it's only +1 on block, so she would have to do crouching light punch afterwards. And if she does this attack into that, there is a gap there that can be punished. The only way to beat the gap is to backdash on it like this, which doesn't get you to punish it, or do this, which is very punishable if they stay blocking. So the guessing game is usually, like, most of the time, a smart opponent would probably just be hitting a button after they block this almost every time. Because the risk is not really there for them. There's not a lot Karen can do to really punish them for doing that, except for do crazy risky stuff like that. So yeah, she can backdash sometimes, but it doesn't really help her, like, punish, like if they just do a jab or something, so... Weirdly enough, over the year, I've noticed in, like, recent years, like this past year especially, like, people have just stopped jabbing on it, and that's let Karen players get away, even in, like, professional settings, with all sorts of dumb bullshit that they shouldn't be able to do. Like, doing tons of stuff into shoulder for the plus frames. And, like, they really should just keep hitting the button. But anyways. She has this with up and kick, which is borderline useless and is just a gimmick. Now, it does hit if your opponent is not properly, like, doing what they're supposed to against the gimmick, so it will hit an opponent that is not being consistent. Don't think that, even if a gimmick has, like, a guaranteed solution the opponent can do to it, don't think that it will never work. Opponents, like, people will slack off, and it does take mental energy to do every single thing you're supposed to do in every situation. So if people slack off on what they're supposed to do against this, you can sometimes hit them with it. But it's very gimmicky. Don't rely on it in any way. So that's mainly her, and then she has the slide as well. Now if she does the shoulder, she can follow it up into that. That's how you would land your super. That's the most damaging route to cancel into super with this trigger. So yeah, mainly this, like, improves her neutral by giving her this tool, which is, like, really fast for its range, and she can see that she can hit confirm it easily into, like, the knockdown slide or the punch for the super. And yeah, she can cancel it off of that really easily without having to hit confirm it. And it gives her good routes. So that's like a good route to go for with this V-trigger. Some extra corner carry and some extra damage in some situations that she can get with this. I'm not as familiar as, like, the optimal routes for each hit that you land and each amount of meter that you spend with this trigger, so consult, like, a guide or just test stuff yourself. And that is mostly of how to play as a character. Very straightforward character. Both of her throws kind of suck ass. She's only +2 after that throw. She's like +5 after this one. And she always sends her opponent way far away outside of her offensive range. Now, her throws do deal decent damage. Pretty high damage. Not the highest damage, but good damage for regular throws. But yeah, she has to, like, use her fastness and, like, ability to bully the opponent to earn a lot of her hits, and then make them be afraid to press buttons. So you can only be afraid to press buttons if you're adequately, like, whiff punishing them and counter poking them a lot of the time. So you need to be precise with that in order to control your opponent, and then when you control your opponent, then you can get your bunch of throws in, because it's hard for this character to just get a bunch of throws outside of the corner where they stay much closer. But yeah, and even then, it's not the best setup that a character has after their forward throw in the corner. So it's very important to keep the corner position, walk the opponent to the corner rather than, like, get pushed there. If she lands a hit, she can do an immediate EX Tenko into heavy command dash, and she will side switch with them. Give up some damage, get the side switch. So that is most of it. That is most of like the basis, and that's how you approach like becoming more refined with the character's tools. So yeah, she also has an overhead. The first thing to get down with this character is to not accidentally do this. You want to walk forward and hit medium kick, but if you do forward and medium kick, you'll get that. So you want to walk forward and then just let it go the instant you hit the medium kick, so you don't accidentally get that move, which is way slower.